I do want to go back to me for a second. So I just started recording, and I just want to say hi and thank you for joining this video. I'm going to pin my palette now again, so that when the YouTube video comes up, you'll see my face for just a minute. All right, so this right here that I have right here is the painting that Arlene and I did the day before it was torn down. So we wanted to just go out and paint, and it was being torn down even as it was not half torn down, but it was being torn down when we got there. And then this is the painting that I did of it yesterday to send to you in the demo. To do this painting here, what I did was I took the picture that I sent yesterday and I copied it and traced that building, and I cut out the middle of the water and put this in front. One of the things I don't like about this compared to the oil painting, which I think is better, is that this building's not as big. So what I did this morning was I printed off the building here, the picture that I took that day, and made it a little bigger. And this is what the painting looked like. I guess it was this way. So what I did was I took a pair of scissors and I cut out all that water and I put it there like that. And Terry, if you need a copy of the sketch, I can do one for you. Let me know later, okay?
Okay, you know what is happening for me is everything's static. I don't get a bunch of pictures if you're pointing to different things. Everything's just set. But that could be because of my bandwidth.
Static. Okay, yeah, I think that is partly your bandwidth. Terry, is my hand now in the picture that you are?
No.
No, you can't see it? Okay. Well, I think your bandwidth is slow. Some things you can do, you can do or turn off anything else you might be streaming on.
I don't have anything.
You don't have any kids that are streaming
No.
5 videos at once, so that's not a problem. There are some tricks, but I don't know them other than making your kids get off. So I'll send something in the email to you later, Terry, okay?
Thank you.
So that's what this picture looks like when it's traced. And I traced it with water soluble. I'm going to keep this little piece of paper to do my pylons. Now, I want to check in with Nina. Nina, you said that you started one. What direction were you looking? From that one there or from the other side? Nina?
Oh, sorry.
What direction?
I had to go turn off the washing
What
machine.
direction is yours from? This direction or the other side?
This direction.
Okay, good.
Yes, just perfect.
That's what she's doing.
All right. There's two things about this painting that I want to really point out. And one is
So I could see what you're doing.
the shadow. When we get to it on the building, but I just want to mention it now. So in the painting that we did the day we were out, the shadow, it was in the afternoon and the sun was here on these walls and this was the shadow. And there used to be a crab here, but actually what happened was they painted it all white so that the wood chips wouldn't fall into the bay and make lead poisoning. So I just changed it. I probably put the crab in this painting I'm doing. And here's the photograph. It's very foggy. So one of these sides of the walls does not have light on it, and one side is not in shadow. And you can flip this. You can make it morning or you can do afternoon. And I'll probably just do it this way in the afternoon, like I have it here. So the way that we do that is we paint the green, and then when that's dry, we put a color on half the walls. The next, it's probably going to be French ultramarine blue. So another thing now on this painting, the way I'm painting it today, is that this was a kind of a foggy day. So I'm not putting in the boats behind it. I'm not putting in the hills and the trees and the layers. I just want to make it sort of foggy and suggest that back in that fog is the hills of El Granada. And in this one, I did make the sky kind of blue, and then I just did real soft hills. I think that's probably how I'm going to do this, because if it's totally foggy, we won't have the sun on this wall. So it's probably good to give it a little sky and then very soft back here. One other important point is this line right here that's going through the pylons. That is the breakwater, and we need to be able to see it below the pier when we get that pier in. It's in the photograph just like that. Here's the breakwater going through the pier. And that's where the mountains will start going up and the water will be coming down from that breakwater right there. So really that's the horizon line, the breakwater. In the oil painting that I did, I put that in. Here's the breakwater. And then it goes up from there and the water comes down from the breakwater. And then all of that other stuff goes over it. So here I go. I am not going to use PBO on this because this building is old and falling down. So I don't want it to be nice and sharp. I want to be kind of messy. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wet everything above the horizon line that is not the building. I might lose some of this, but I can put it back in. So. And a little closer. I want to make you dizzy. Okay. So I'm going to take my water. And I'm going to wet around the building. And just above the breakwater, when I looked more carefully, I could see that that little thing right there is I think it's the wench. Mary Botham didn't join us, but her husband, Marty, built that shed right there that I'm pointing to. So she knows this pier pretty well. Okay, so that's all wet, and I am going to just start with a little bit of French ultramarine blue.
Water under the building, above the horizon line?
I wet right in here.
You did, okay, thank you.
Underneath the building, but above the horizon line. But I didn't ruin all my marks for the pier. But I did go over some of the marks for the railings. So here's the French. That green, I think the green that I can see on my palette right there is stained into the plastic. I'm going to I used a color, one of my friend's daughter paint her dog, and I use Payne's Gray. Or we could just use sepia. That'll be better. So now that I've kind of made a messy blue there, a little darker. I'm just gonna put that watered down French ultramarine blue in there. I'm leaving a couple light areas. I'm purposely not making it all the same color up in the sky. Now I'm going to mix a little bit of Antwerp into that puddle. And a little bit of burnt sienna. Just trying to green it up a little bit so we get the feeling that back there is the El Granada Hills. So I want it soft. And then this goes just below, goes to the breakwater. And then you have to decide how high you want to make it go. I think it'll kind of fade away right in there. It can go up over here. I might put a little more gray.
Mary Kay, could you make your picture just the full screen or not?
There you go.
That's better? Yep, is even more?
Even more.
Yeah.
That's better, yes, thank you. Yes, thank you.
I don't know if I can paint like this, but I'll try. I just softened that. I'm gonna take my paper towel. Yeah, that's probably good there. Well, that's yeah. What I'm gonna do is take a bit of sepia and put in my breakwater, which is gonna be half wet and half dry. I do want my all right. I think I'm going to leave it like that. I'd like to go right into my building right now, but I'm scared it's going to blend out into the sky. So I think I'll just come down and do the water now. I'm going to switch my brush to my 3/4 inch. Whoa, there's something in that. That was a little old burnt sienna. Coming right up to my breakwater. Now I'm wetting all the water. I went right over my sketch of my pylons in the pier because I'm just going to fake them. And I went over all my, I think that's all algae. I think it's from the sewer that the boats leave out is why it gets so much algae right there. So now we have to pick a color for the water in the bay. And I think I'm going to kind of go with a little bit of a green. So I'm going to take that green that I used in those hills and I'm going to dress it up a little bit with some Antwerp and some burnt sienna. See what it looks like. Does that look like an ocean? Should I gray it? I'm going to gray it with some French. Let's see what that looks like. A little burnt sienna in it. Oh, I like that better. Okay, so it's a kind of a brownish green. That's my water. Take it right up to the breakwater. And then this at the bottom here at the tape is going to be the wet sand and the icky algae. So I need a much brighter green for that. In fact, I can use a little bit of green blue, and that makes it, ugh. It really makes it look not natural, like something man-made made that icky green. One of the things I noticed when I went to the Monet exhibit is that a lot of his, I really love looking at trying to figure out what pigments artists use, because you guys all know how much I'm into that, into the pigments. And I think Monet was using PG8, which is the pigment in green blue. And you could tell that they had been dumping their sewage out into the water where he was painting, because it was this icky green color that you get when there's sewage. So there it is. Just put a few specks in there. I think I'll try to put a little bit of French in there so it looks like maybe the sunlight's kind of shimmering off the water. There's a little French. And then I want to darken underneath because the sand in front is wet and dirty and darker. Now that's I'll have to be careful I don't matte that out. I'll have to matte out the sky and not underneath. Now my little building should be dry enough. There's the sky around my little building dry enough. I've been using this brush here. Did I talk about it last time? This brush here has a pencil on the end of it, and they sell them at every museum, the gift shop all around the world. Not every museum, but all around the world you can find these. They're very inexpensive, and I like the tip of these brushes. They make such a nice point. So I'm going to use this one. The roof, I think I'll just put, no, I'm going to not put the roof in first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the color of all the building right now, that color. And it was just that pale green. So I think if we start with the PG7 and maybe add a little bit of black in it.
What is PG7?
It's green blue or Viridian or
Okay.
Windsor blue.
Thank you.
It's almost it. Or if oh, you know what, okay, maybe the yellow green with the PG7, that's it, right there. So a little bit of our Grumbacher phthalo yellow green and a tiny bit of the green blue gets it almost perfectly to get that color of those walls. Yep, that's it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint all the walls. I'm going to lose some of my lines, but hopefully I won't lose them all. I didn't paint the roof. There's a little building over here. if it's a little bit messy because I'm not trying to be perfect here. I'm just trying to make you know that there's an old, ratty, falling down building here. So that's the color of the walls. While that's drying, I left out just a little bit of green from the mountain right there. I'm going to put in the roof. The roof is Antwerp and burnt sienna. And falling down, so I want to make it not a straight line. And there's tiny little roofs on that one, and that little one, and this little one, and this little one, and over here there's even one. And this one has one. Then the next step to this is to pick the side that's in the shadow. There's a bunch of little buildings, and one of the walls we're going to leave that same color, and one of the walls we're going to put French ultramarine blue over it and put it into the shadow. I'm going to pretend that it's in the afternoon, just like in my, oops, I touched that and made you guys dizzy. So I'm going to start with this wall here. I'm going to put this wall in the shadow by painting French ultramarine blue over this. And I can go right over the window too because I put the window in black.
We lost your phone.
Yeah, we lost you, Mary Kay.
Your phone, we don't see your phone anymore.
Wonder why that happened. Because my daughter Eleanor is calling me. I'm going to decline. Sorry, dear.
You're back.
There. Low enough? A little lower? Okay.
Mhm.
So I'm turning this wall here into the wall in the shadow. And then there's a little building here. So this part of this building right here will be in the shadow. That one will be light. This one here will be in the shadow. This part of this one is in the shadow. I don't know what happened right there. Sometimes I get mixed up. I do this in the shadow. This right here, you put half shadow. Shadow.
Okay, what did you add to the shadow color?
The shadow color is pure French ultramarine blue.
Okay.
So as soon as I put that French ultramarine blue on it, it goes into the shadow, and then the wall in the sunshine pops out like, wow, it's sun is shining on that wall. And also with that French ultramarine blue, I'm going to make a little shadow underneath the eaves of the roof. Under all the little eaves. Then the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the windows. And that's really when the painting becomes alive. So I'm using sepia and French ultramarine blue. to make a nice black. And I'm gonna kind of touch my paper towel so that I know that I have a beautiful little point on that brush. And I'm gonna paint in these little windows. Those might be too bright. There are some, I'm gonna dab those a little. Those are a little too much. That's better. And there's a big square one here in the shadow. There's little ones like in a garage door right here. There's one in here. It's a little bigger. Touch those so they're not so bright, but we get it. There, and now the building looks like it's in the sun. So you just paint it all green, and then you put the shadow of French ultramarine blue on the sides of the walls that are in the shade. You can just pick which ones those are going to be. And then when you put the windows in, it goes bam, that's in the sun. I'm going to take some of this dark color that I have and just kind of make the roof a little messier, a little broken and junk on it. I want it to be falling down and broken and with trash and bird poop on it. The works. That's a funny little thing there. About right. I think what I'll do next is put in all the booms. So it's going to be the same color as the windows, but maybe a little bit more burnt sienna into it. So it's a dark, not black, but just nice and dark and brown. And again, I have a beautiful point on this brush. And if I'm a little shaky, that's good. And then a little extra coffee food on these because you don't want it to be too perfect. And there's a boom that way, and then there's these guys going down this way. There's something going that way. I don't know what those attach to. I better make them come down farther. Something coming this way. Okay, that's enough on the booms, I think. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the railings. It's the same color that I just made, and I'm going to put in the bottom of the pier that it's all sitting on. And that needs to be above the breakwater. So this is the bottom of the, or I don't know, the top of the pier. Part you would walk on if you were walking out there. I think I hear all the mockingbirds outside my window. That's coming from me, right? Not you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds so good. And then there's these little railings over here. There's the 3 layers. And this actually kind of comes out. Kind of the crookeder, the better. There's little triangles out there that were holding that up. So these are the posts that are holding the fence along the edge. And then they're actually out in this area, they were already torn down. So I'm just gonna put them in like I was there in the morning when they were there. Just faking it out here. Some of those have, like I said, they have little angles at them to hold them up. And then I think there's pretty much 3 rails. Broken and falling, all the better. Should I leave an opening, Nina? Or let it be really broken right there? Or fell down.
Poor thing.
You can step over that when it's fallen over. So now I have the railing of the pier on, and the next step is to put these things coming down. What are they called? Pylons.
Pilings.
Pilings. And I just have to pick how far down I'm going to go. About there. And if there's an angle, there is, because they're farther away from me at this edge here, and they're closer to me over here. So they need to get just that ever so slightly bigger as they come toward me. And I'm just going to put a piece of paper down. I'm not a piece of tape, but just hold a piece of paper. And I'm just going to use my sepia mixed with French ultramarine blue, make black basically. Touch my paper towel and just start painting them in. Some places there's a lot of them, and some places there's holes in between. What you do not want to do is put them all exactly 1/8 of an inch apart. So I'm going to put this here so you can see. I'm going to start right here right here. And there's some extra one there. Sometimes they're close, sometimes they're far away, sometimes there's a little bit you can see. Some are crooked. I added a little more French to it because it didn't look black enough. There's a lot of them right in here, so you don't really even see that much water looking through. A little darker, I guess, on that. Maybe this is, oh, my beets are burning. Oh no! I wish you could smell this. Oh, I just picked those beets from the garden, and there's 3 kinds of homegrown beets, and I just burnt them. Ah, I was gonna have that in a big salad tonight. Oh well. Here I go with my burnt beet smell. I'm surprised if that goes off. Oh, it's gonna be so loud. Oh my gosh. Oh. Open the door now. I hope Eleanor's cat doesn't get out. Jeez. All right, I'm gonna keep going here. Dang, those darn beets. And that's my best pan too. I cook my oatmeal every morning in that pan. It's ruined. Put a little more fence in because I pilings were so dark. I don't want to be able to see my breakwater pilings. The pilings need to be dark enough that and then I take off the paper and it's all flat at the bottom because water keeps everything flat at the bottom. So boom, there it is, just like that. There is going to be a little bit of a shadow underneath, right underneath the pier though. So I'm going to take the French ultramarine blue and just kind of put maybe a little bit of green in that too. Yeah, that's dirtier, that's better. Yep, there. Have a little more down here. Bring that more forward. They all kind of disappeared in softness. And then there's very close to being done, except we have to decide if we want to put any kind of reflection into the water right here. You can just sort of make it choppy. It'll be windy and there could be no reflection. Or we can put a little color in and make a little reflection. What do you want to do? Want to see reflection?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So what I'm going to do is take that green color from the wall, the sunlight color. And I have to make sure I know I'm going to take a couple pieces of paper so that I know where the walls end. So, because it's only going to reflect underneath, not to the sides. So if I put some of that beautiful green color, and I'm not going to try to make it perfect all the way across. I'm just going to pick a spot where it might be reflecting, which would be right. I'm going to just pick that spot in my painting. And then over here, and over here. I can even put in some blue where it's, get that off. I'm going to smudge it with a thirsty brush. A little bit here too. A little building there, it's not very bright though. And if I put a couple shadows of the windows in, so right below that window, I'll just put a little dark, 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 and then smudge those too. I think it's pretty close to being done. I want to make this look more like water by putting some ripples in it. Maybe that shadow, maybe the reflection there is too bright. So I think I'll take a clean, dry paper towel and just lift it a little bit. And now I want to try to make this look more like water. I'm just going to put some little shimmer, some little lines across it, like it's shimmering. The little waves are catching. I can use the side of my brush and just skip. That's better. Just skip across it using the belly of this brush. Put some color here on the side. So my eye doesn't race out. And then I think I'll sharpen up just a little bit of this green so that we feel like it's closer and more in view. So making some more of that green with the PG8 and burnt sienna, maybe some sepia. And I just want to put some more weeds right in here at the surface of the water. Well, I think that kind of does it. I don't want to overwork it. I just want to feel like I went out there that day and they were tearing it down and I got it real fast. I'll take the tape off, I think, later because you don't need to watch me do that. So does anybody have any questions?
You didn't sign it?
I didn't sign it. I could sign it. The way that I'm gonna sign this is I'm gonna write my name with a pencil and then go over it. I think writing here.
Oh, sorry.
Which phone is that?
That's my phone. That went off. Sorry about that. I wish I had signed it when it was wet and used my special trick of the signer. That's always the best way. And I don't like to sign my paintings with a pen unless I've used a pen in the painting, if it's a pen and ink. Otherwise, I like to use paint to sign. But it is hard to write your name with a brush, so I like to just go over a pencil mark. There we go. Now I signed it.
Great.
Very nice.
He's great.
Did anybody paint? do you want me to, I'm gonna unpin that. Does anybody have?
I did.
I painted, but I don't like it.
Oh, Chris, it's nice and big.
Hey, that looks nice.
I did this in the book that Penny gave me, so it's all pen and ink and wash.
Ah, nice.
Everything I do.
Let's see. Oh, there we all are. Can I go this way? Here. Okay, I can see everybody now. Does anybody have any questions or they want any? Oh, there's Penny's.
Oh, nice.
Really nice, Penny.
Nice, yes.
Yeah, the fog is good. The building is the focal point. The light on it is good. I like how you did the bottom with just a little bit of emphasis on whatever junk was at the beach there. Really nice.
Ah.
Nina, do you want us to look at yours that do you have the one that you started?
I don't have the one that I started, but this is what I just did.
Oh, wow.
Lovely.
That looks good.
Yep.
And I think it'll go right with the one that I started. I'm tempted to just paste it on. No, just kidding. Thank you. I'm pleased with it.
Very nice.
That's a nice format. I like that. You took out the algae at the bottom. You put the,
Well, I had to because I only had a scrap of paper that I had cut last night for another project. So that's why I didn't have the algae. It wasn't on purpose.
okay. Very good. Any questions?
Very good. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Shall we sign off then?
Thanks, Mary Kay.
So if you need anything, email me or email me your pictures when you do them at home. I'd love to see them.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Thanks for the lesson, Mary Kay.
You're welcome.
Yep.
It's great
Okay.
to see you. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.